Hello and welcome to Balanced Existence. Today is day 19 out of 31 in this series I am recording in December 2025, one reading every day. But of course, whenever you come across the reading, it is timeless for you. So my throat is I'm not sick, but I have been talking a lot today and my throat is a little bit sore. So pardon my voice today, but it is not going to stop us, and we're going to dive right in here. So if it's your first time joining, of course, I welcome you to check out the previous days of this series. As always, we're going to start with an oracle card and an astrology card, and then we'll dive into the tarot. And I do have my tea here, so I'm going to make sure I'm sipping on this so I can make it through the reading. So we have the Sun and the Humour oracle card. The Sun is our astrology card. So with Humour, it says, laugh at yourself, lighten your heart, let nothing steal your happiness. And the Sun card is, of course, the card of warmth and light and happiness. So these go hand in hand. Today, we're welcoming in this, I'm hearing unwavering, like unconditional lightness. And especially if you've maybe gone through some experience in the past week or day or even month that you've allowed to kind of dampen your mood, today's message is coming in for you to remind yourself of the power that you have to always choose lightness. And it's not to say, we want to bypass difficult emotions. But there's a message here of allowing yourself to kind of look at these difficult circumstances or challenges and be able to see them with an open heart. And, laugh at the mistakes, laugh at the challenges, and recognize that they are such natural parts of the human experience. And I'm almost hearing the question from your guides of do you wish that your life was just predictable and had no challenges? It would be quite boring. And again, it's not to kind of bypass any type of difficult external circumstance or situation you may be going through, but there is a balance here, and Spirit is reminding you in which ways can you maybe err more on the side of happiness and lightheartedness even through whatever struggles you may be enduring. So I'm going to read the Sun card. It says this, and we actually did get the Sun card maybe a few days ago, so this energy is coming back up here. It says, the Sun is strongly associated with your birthday, the day you came into being, and represents the need to express your sense of self. Other issues involve variations of this, such as self-image, self-esteem, individuality, identity, and personal creativity. Ideas about paternal figures and authority might also be indicated if the Sun card appears. So yeah, and it's not just about having humor in this one particular moment, or this is about your identity and how on this self-transformational journey you are reaching this place where, as part of your authentic expression, you are somebody who just simply and consistently shows up with an aura of lightheartedness and happiness. Again, unwavering, unconditional happiness, happiness that is not dependent on external circumstances. And just ability to laugh at yourself, laugh at your circumstances, laugh with life. And this is about that becoming your identity, your sense of self, like who you show up as. This isn't about just a reminder from your spirit guides to, tackle a certain situation with more humor. This is about you with the sun here paired with the humor. This is about this sense of humor becoming a part of who you are. And it's like becoming ingrained, becoming something that you really anchor in, and that comes so naturally to you. And so I would love to hear from you, like if maybe you're on the side of this where you feel like recently you've been going through some difficult scenarios and this message is calling you to invite more humor into this. And maybe this is resonating for you in a way where you're recognizing that a lot of the ways in which you show up in life, you would be able to raise your frequency if you responded to external things with more humor. Because as we are seeking to transform on our journey, we're seeking to build a strong manifestational mindset and show up as that version of ourselves that is open to abundance. That sense of humor and unwavering happiness, when you anchor that in, you become so powerful and it's such an empowered, sovereign being to be able to navigate through life with humor, with happiness, regardless of what scenarios have been put in front of you. And I feel like this is such an underrated message because sometimes, we see something like the humor card, which seems like, a very lighthearted, even maybe surface level, like archetype or oracle card to get. But it really is transformational when you can apply this to your entire life perspective. I'm getting this strong message of like loosening your grip or softening your grip on life, including the parts of life that involve pain, right? We're not trying to be in denial. We're just trying to use this lightness of humor as a medicine, to help us, as we go through more difficult moments. And so I'm seeing this analogy of playing like a board game. And obviously, like if you're playing a board game that involves like rolling a dice, let's say, that is luck, right? Like you can't practice rolling a dice. You can't be good or bad at rolling a dice, right? Like it's a game of luck, right? And in many ways, there are things in life. Of course, we have manifestational power, but there are a lot of things in life we just simply can't control, right? Like it seems as random as rolling a dice, right? And so, and of course, you may very well have the mindset, which I think is beneficial, of, everything happening for a reason, and that even if you roll an unfavorable roll of the dice, there's a lesson to be learned. And if you roll a favorable roll of the dice, that's, favorable. And like either way, you can learn something from it, right? I think that's a healthy mindset to have. But ultimately, what I'm seeing is this vision of like two people or two sides of you playing this board game, let's say, and you roll a dice and you get an unfavorable roll. And you're just so upset and you feel so tense and you feel so disappointed and you just feel like such a victim of this unluckiness, right? And every turn that keeps coming to you that you get to roll that dice, you just are like buried under this cloud of that previous unlucky roll. And maybe you roll again and it's not so great and it just kind of like piles up, right? And then you're holding the dice and you're just holding them so tight because like every roll you make, you're just doing it in fear, right? You can kind of pick up on this analogy I'm getting at, right? Like that's one way to navigate through life. On the other hand, there's somebody who can roll an unfavorable roll and kind of laugh it off and be like, well, that's okay. We can bounce back. Like, there's nothing we can't survive in life, right? Like, there's nothing I can't handle. And that takes, with the sun here, this is what I'm trying to get at. Like, that takes a sense of self-worth, a sense of self-esteem, a sense of self-value to, not take it personally, but to really show up and be like, you know what? I have the strength to, overcome any difficulties, and I'm just going to laugh it off. I'm going to see the lesson for what it is, and I'm going to move on with life because nothing can steal my happiness. And it's that lightheartedness approach and that approach that can completely shift our reality and leap us into those higher timelines and higher frequencies. And so I hope that analogy kind of paints a picture, because there may be some scenario in your life, your relationships, your work, your hobbies, whatever it may be, where you're feeling kind of tense about it, or you're feeling this like anxiety. It might be these kind of spirals of anxiety that come back. They're like recurring. They come back to you every so often. And you find yourself in these spirals because it's like your happiness is now being dictated by these external circumstances. So I know I've like not even gotten into the tarot yet and we're already on this tangent, but I feel like this was a really valuable lesson for us to start off with. So I wanted to really channel that fully. So of course, let me know in the comments if any of this is resonating. And yeah, so we're just moving forward with this really gentle, lighthearted perspective and, bringing that warmth of the sun and the clarity and the truth of the sun back into places that previously felt really tense or heavy or dim. So let us pull some tarot cards and get into what else we can channel here. We have the High Priestess. So this is your intuition, your inner knowing. I'm really appreciating the duality of this card with the sun, because the sun is about, like what's out in the open, your truth, your identity, whereas the High Priestess is about your more subconscious, sometimes even hidden truths and wisdom. And, the High Priestess also talks a lot about emotional depth and that which is within you that is sacred, that sacred inner knowing. And it's like your quiet truth, whereas the sun is kind of like your truth that you wear out in the open, right? It's like your authentic self that you shine the light on, right? Like you're in the spotlight. The sun is illuminating what the High Priestess is bringing to the surface, what the High Priestess already knows from her inner knowing, from her inner wisdom. And so there's also a message here of being able to trust your intuition and really approach this with ease, with the Humour card here, to really have a loose, it's kind of like if you're, clenching your whole body and you're trying to dig deep within to get in touch with your inner wisdom. It's like if your body is tight, it's not going to loosen enough for those things to come up. You want to be in a loose and like kind of flowing energy. And that's what the Humour card is bringing here. As we allow the High Priestess and the sun to kind of work their duality and bring these truths to the surface, the Humour card is allowing us to kind of soften and allow those things to kind of loosen and flow together. And there's also, of course, a duality of the High Priestess being the divine feminine and the sun being the divine masculine, right? So there's also this message of like the humor, whether this is your internal divine feminine and masculine, because of course these are not necessarily linked to gender, or if this is like a specific external relationship. Regardless, humor is going to loosen it and soften it, and that's what's really going to allow you to navigate through life with more peace and ease and grace. So allow the sense of humor to reassure you that you can trust your inner voice. You know what you know. So we also have the Five of Pentacles. And yeah, I mean, this is like that scarcity mindset This is the person who's clinging on to those dice, right? Like scared of what they're going to roll, feeling like you're not supported, or also failing to recognize the support that's right in front of you. Again, in this analogy of playing the board game, it's like you almost, in the stress of your like anxiety and fear around rolling the dice, you don't think as clearly when it comes to like the strategy of the game. So you may miss certain opportunities because you're so fixated on, what you're going to roll, and, how much you've been struggling, how challenging this game has been, right? And then you kind of miss opportunities. And I think we all kind of relate to a scenario in our lives, even if it's on the most minor level, where you were stressed about something and it kept you from thinking clearly, right? So the Five of Pentacles is very much about like when you have that tight grip, you don't see what's available to you. And that's what scarcity mindset does. I mean, it's the opposite of seeing what abundance is there right in front of you. You're just seeing the lack in your life, whether it's financial, emotional, in terms of your relationships. And there's concepts here of fear of abandonment, feeling left out, not feeling like you have a supportive family or community, all of these things. So if you're feeling excluded or unsupported or even rejected, allow the Humour card to come in, right? Allow that to bless and lighten your energy. Because even through painful times, you can recognize that it's making you stronger, it's making you wiser, and there is an opportunity if you're able to just release and see it. So, and we also have the Fool. Wow. Okay, yes. So as we release, it's like, this is the duality right here. We've got the Five of Pentacles versus the Fool. This is the person who's clinging onto the dice, scared to roll it, feeling like they're going to lose the game, feeling like they're always behind, feeling like they're so unlucky. It's just like such a spiral of lack mindset, versus the Fool, which is the person who's just having fun. The Humour and the Fool card, they're just so in line, right? It's just this like lighthearted, well, I'm just going to give it my best, and, I have faith. I have this lighthearted trust, and I'm open to this new beginning. I'm open to stepping into the unknown. And that does take an energy of innocence, right? Which the Humour card comes in with that kind of innocent demeanor, right? It's like this kind of playful faith and curiosity. And, with the Sun here, the Sun is about what brings you joy. It's about your creative energy, your passions. It's about, what you're here to do, your identity, your mission, your drive, your path, right? So you are really restoring this sense of joy by embodying this Fool energy, embodying this Humour energy, and, stepping into a new chapter with a lighter heart, allowing, because you've loosened your grip, you're allowing this reset, you're allowing, you're allowing your curiosity to lead the way instead of your fear, right? You're choosing to trust instead of choosing to be, cynical or negative or, a victim of external circumstances. So let's see what else we can pull here. We have the Six of Swords, the Five of Cups. Yeah, again, this duality, right? The Six of Swords, this is your journey. This is you moving away from those old ways of, that brought you pain, that was full of emotional turbulence. This is you on your healing journey, transitioning into an energy of peace after having endured so much turmoil, transitioning into a a reality full of mental clarity and, no more bitterness, no more being a victim to your surroundings, but instead taking this gradual journey. You don't have to carry any of those things that aren't serving you going forward. So with the humor card, this is allowing that journey to be lightened. It doesn't have to be this heavy, sad, healing journey, right? It can be one in which you embody optimism and faith and trust, again, with the Fool as well. And with the Five of Cups, this is, the duality of feeling regret or fixating on your losses. This is, again, with the Five of Pentacles coming up previously and the Five of Cups, both of these cards kind of have similar embodiments of just focusing on what you don't have and not seeing what's there for you, not seeing the opportunities available for you, and just kind of being stuck in your grief or your disappointments, especially on an emotional level with the cups. And, there's nothing wrong with feeling anything negative that you feel, but we feel it and then we release it. We don't carry it with us, on this Six of Swords journey into this higher timeline. And once again, with the Humour card, loosening your attachment to these old kind of negative spirals that you may be used to, like just by habit. Because ultimately, to rewire your brain, especially as we talk about like manifestational mindsets on this channel a lot, to rewire your brain, rewire your thinking, rewire your perspective on life, it just takes practice and repetition, right? So if you can continue to navigate through your day, and anytime you start to think of something negative or start to recognize something that could contribute to or lead to a negative spiral of emotions, the more that you can kind of interrupt that spiral and remember the humor, remember that lightheartedness, and that you do have the choice, to choose that response, to choose that perspective. And sometimes it can feel like you don't know how to embody that choice, but the more you practice it, the more it becomes like second nature. And so that's being reiterated for you again here. Not letting those, not letting your grief and your sadness and your unlucky rolls of the dice, right? Or your unlucky or your painful past experiences, don't let those define or identify you. Allow your humor to define you, right? Allow your humor to be who you are, not your past difficulties. And then we also have the Temperance. So this is that beautiful emotional integration, the alchemy that we were just talking about on this transformational journey. We're healing and we're alchemizing, from the version of ourselves that had that tight grip and that heavy tension into the version of ourselves that lives in balance and in harmony and with a lighthearted, there's just such a beautiful card with the rainbow and the angel. Like, it's just such a high frequency energy that you're entering into. And with the balance, the concept of balance here is talking also about you can feel things deeply. Like, you can feel your sadness, your grief, your loss, your pain, even as you notice those old thought patterns of scarcity mindset coming up, the fear, you can feel it. But, and I've said this in previous videos, like, there's a concept of that it only takes you 90 seconds to feel your emotion. It's the mind that continues to replay the story and propagate the feeling over and over, it's like watering the weed. The more you think of the thing causing you the negative emotion and allowing those feelings to continue to come up, at that point, it's not really productive healing. It's not a productive like somatic exercise if your mind is just like on repeat. I'm hearing like a skipping record or CD. So when you allow your mind to spiral and continue to tell those negative stories, you're just reinforcing those neural pathways. It's like a broken record. It's like watering the weed, right? So that's not helpful. But if you focus on what the feeling actually feels like in your body, it really only takes 90 seconds for you to process that. And it's not to say that it won't come back up later, based on whatever external experiences you're enduring, or where, depending on where your mind continues to take you. But if you just feel it in your body and then focus on controlling your the mental aspect of where you allow your mind to take you, are you watering the weed or are you watering the rose, right? I mean, this is that beautiful balance that the temperance is representing, the ability to feel but not to water those weeds, right? And then as we feel those things, as we release negative emotions like grief and scarcity mindset and fear, then on the other side of it, we laugh deeply. We feel joy deeply in our core. We truly embody humor. We genuinely laugh at things that we once, again, I'm seeing like a toddler and everyone's playing a friendly game and everyone's laughing and lighthearted, but the toddler is just so angry because they want to win, or because whatever it may be. Maybe they're feeling really competitive, or maybe they're rolling the dice and they're not getting what they wanted, and they're like fighting with life. They're like resisting the fun of the game, right? Like, and so there's this balance of like, the more that you allow yourself to feel and allow yourself to process it in that 90 seconds, the more you're able to clear out those negative emotions and embody more lightheartedness. And it's like taking the heavy backpack off, releasing the weight off of your shoulders, remembering that you don't have to carry those burdens with you. And that is how, with the sun and the humor card together, you really begin to embody that humor energy, the energy of lightheartedness, the energy of unwavering happiness, the ability to laugh at life, right? And so that's this also beautiful duality of like, you're able to feel your grief, feel it for 90 seconds, feel it in your body, but you also have the mental strength and discernment to know, okay, like I don't need to continue to think of the story that makes me feel, those negative feelings. And then you pivot your energy, and now you're able to choose humor, lightheartedness. And as you repeat that cycle, you start to rewire how you perceive life, your thoughts, your beliefs. So this is a powerful message, especially in the context of achieving balance, achieving inner harmony, which is the foundation for achieving and manifesting your desired reality. And this is the beautiful integration of all parts of yourself, right? Your pain, your joy, your wisdom, your innocence, right? Like that is what enables you to love and accept yourself as a whole, to process everything you need to process on an emotional level, in a feelings, like on a feelings level, like in your body, the somatics of your emotions. Because when you balance that and you accept them all with open arms and a lighthearted perspective and the humor and ability to laugh with life, this is you living in balance. And this is you having that totally integrated and complete manifestational power. So to recap, this is a gentle healing, right? With the humor card, there's such a lighthearted, I want to say like delicate, although again, it's this unwavering happiness. It's not fragile, right? But it's a gentle energy. It's one of a soft, loose grip. And so we're healing like in a gentle way. And we're healing our perspective. We're evolving our perspective. And we're doing this through the inner knowing of the high priestess and, releasing these limiting archetypes of like the Five of Pentacles, the Five of Cups, and moving into this new realm, the Six of Swords, right? This more peaceful realm with the Fool, which with complete faith, complete trust. And again, the Temperance, just like allowing us to achieve that harmony. And it's just a beautiful balance of that innocent faith, but also the wisdom of everything you've gone through and the knowingness that you have the strength to navigate whatever is thrown your way, so that you can just kind of laugh along with it and flow with it and just have an energy of happiness and lightheartedness regardless of what's thrown your way. So I'm going to leave the reading here. I hope that this resonated for you. I would love to hear from you in the comments. And of course, if you'd like to subscribe and continue to join us for the rest of this series, I would love to have you here. Thank you to each and every one of you who's a subscriber, especially as we're just starting off building this community. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. So again, thank you so much for tuning in and listening. And I will see you back here for tomorrow, day 20. Bye.